So if you look at my background, it's a little unusual. So I consider myself kind of an oddball here. So my background was that I was a professor of mathematics, and then I was a software engineer, and then I was a patent attorney, which is what I'm doing now. But none of those three things are what I'm here to talk about today. What I'm here to talk about today is artificial intelligence. And there's a lot that we need to be thinking about with artificial intelligence. So let's go on to the next slide. Let's look at the two sides. It's like, is the future of AI, is it helpful or is it harmful? So look at both sides, the good and the bad. So let's go on. So one of the things that's going to affect about 1 in 8 women is that they will be diagnosed with breast cancer at some point in life. That's a pretty high percentage. And the best diagnostic tools that we have now use mammograms. So starting at about age 40, women are supposed to get mammograms every 2 years. So this is an example of what a mammogram would actually look like. Now, one of the drawbacks to mammograms is that when doctors look at them to evaluate whether they show cancer, is that their accuracy is only about 80%. So, I mean, you might say 80% is pretty good, but not really. 80% means two things. One is that they're not diagnosing actual cancer soon enough. And then there's also the errors of diagnosing something as looking like cancers and therefore requiring unnecessary biopsies. So the problem with an 80% diagnosis is both it's not detecting everything that it should, and it is detecting some things that it shouldn't. So here, with the assistance of artificial intelligence, the accuracy goes from about 80% up to about 99+%. And that means two very good things. One is that the cancers are detected earlier, and earlier treatment is critical. But the other part is that means many millions of fewer unnecessary biopsies. So this is a very big deal, and this is available today. One of the things locally is that this has not been as accessible to women in Egypt as much as it should. And so there are many cases that aren't diagnosed early enough. So we have technology. It is available here, and people should take advantage of it. So let's go on. Let's look at another issue that's very important to this area. The Nile River provides about 97% of all the fresh water. And about 80% of that is for farmland irrigation. So it's very important that we conserve that water and use it very efficiently. Well, AI can be used in a couple of very useful ways here, and is being used currently. First is by using imagery of various sorts. First of all, satellite imagery, and being able to detect the moisture level in the ground. It's also able to use sensors in the ground, as well as imagery from drones. Like you'd have drones flying over fields taking imagery, and from that you're able to estimate the water content and know how much you need to irrigate. And that's combined with one other useful thing, is that AI is able to assist and do better weather prediction, which can be very useful, because if you know it's going to be hotter or cooler in the next few days, that can make a difference on whether you irrigate. So the increased use of AI for weather prediction is also helping us significantly. Okay, let's go on. Another really valuable use of AI is for new drug discovery. How many know how much a typically costs to develop a new drug from scratch to actually being delivered to people? Any guesses how much it costs? Millions? Yeah. Anybody else? Billions. Billions is the right answer. It's multiple billions of dollars. That's a lot of money. So it's very difficult to get things to the market. And it also means that the drugs that are pursued are things that the companies think are going to make lots of money. Because if you're going to spend multiple billions on something, you're not going to do that if you think, well, it's only going to make us a few million. You're not going to get there. So new drug discovery with the assistance of AI is able to do a much better job at identifying the drugs more quickly. And the way it does that is through three-dimensional imaging of what the molecules look like. So if you imagine your body has certain receptors with a certain three-dimensional shape, we need to find a drug that sort of matches that three-dimensional shape. And with the use of AI, it's able to do that more effectively. So if the big drug companies, it takes billions to do this, but with AI, it can do it better, well, will that help the people of Egypt? And the answer is yes. And in fact, last year, we saw the discovery of a new antiviral drug that can be used to treat hepatitis C. So this is something that has been using AI. They're able to develop the drug last year. Another interesting example, which again would not be pursued by the big pharmaceutical companies, but could be pursued here, is for the treatment of a disease that some of you may not recognize, but has been around in this area for a long time, is schistosomiasis. It's been in this area for at least 5,000 years and affects about 13 million people in the MENA region. So this is an example of something that, with the use of AI, can possibly be it's cheap enough that we might be able to actually find a cure for that. Okay, let's go on. Now let's look at the other side. What about some things that are harmful? Well, one of the things that AI does, it can produce very high quality text, and it can produce very high quality images and video. And it also, with the use of AI, you can think about if somebody wants to do a scam, now they can explicitly target individuals. And because in the past you'd say, oh, well, they come up with something, just target, send it to lots of people. But now they can individually target, so they can target you individually, knowing information about you. And I want to give a specific example of this, because some of us think, oh, well, I would recognize a scam if I saw one. So let me tell you an example of something happened to me 3 weeks ago, where I was caught up in a scam and didn't realize it for several days, because the person that was attempting to scam me sent me a business deal and said, oh, this would be a good business deal. It looked legitimate. And then I said, oh, but it doesn't look like it works quite right. So I said, okay, that doesn't work. And then on the other side, I'm getting information, and they said, oh, well, how about let's be friends? And sent me a resume with a nice quality image and some text. And so I thought it was real. And it wasn't for several days until I thought, maybe this isn't quite right. And one of the things that I used to help me identify it was actually I used my favorite AI tool, and I said, what about this? And so with the assistance of AI on my side, I was able to eventually recognize it. But the point of this is that I've been working with AI for a long time. I should have known better, but I didn't. It was specifically targeted to me. It used very high quality text, very high quality images, and it fooled me. And so I want everybody to be aware of that. That's like, yeah, these can fool anybody. So what can we do to protect us against that? Well, look for anything that looks in the least bit unusual. And if you see anything that looks unusual, there's a high chance that it is a scam, and use your favorite AI tool to help you determine whether it is or is not. Use AI on your side to help battle against the bad AI. Yesterday, I received another example, a text message that would look like, I don't know, that looked pretty real, possibly. I was quicker to recognize it as a scam. So I've gotten a little bit better. So let's go on. How many of you have heard of the phrase "garbage in, garbage out"? Have you heard of that? It's particularly true for artificial intelligence. If you put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. This is kind of the idea of put the garbage in, you'll get garbage out the other side. And one of the specific ways that occurs is in the training of AI models. So sometimes the training of an AI model is only as good as the training data. And so in some cases, they're not trained well enough, and it can result in very bad results. And I want to give you an example of the case of a system that was trained for image recognition, specifically facial image recognition. And it was trained on quite a bit of data, but the highest percentage of the faces were light-skinned people like me. And it didn't have enough training data on darker-skinned people. And so the net result was there were false arrests of people because they incorrectly identified some people. So the bad training can lead to very real bad results for real people. And this has happened multiple times. So we really need to make sure that the quality of the training data is good, as well as making sure that we have a feedback loop to improve it. So anytime a model exists, that we continue to improve the training to make it better. So we should be careful of that. Go on. So let's look at how we can bridge from the harmful side to the hopeful side. And in this regard, I wanted to create a little bit of analogy. If you think about an athlete, an athlete need to train their muscles to do things. And so, they're going to exercise to work out to stay physically fit. Well, we need to think about the same thing in terms of our brains, in terms of exercising our brains to stay mentally fit. And there's two important studies that I think are relevant here. The first study showed that, and this is particularly important to people who use AI tools a lot, because a lot of us are like using our, just go to our tool, you use it. The data shows that people who use AI tools too much literally have lower brain activity. I mean, we've done brain scans of people who used AI a lot, and the brain activity is less. That's not a good sign for us. So we have to be thinking about that. A second study shows that it correlated the quality of the output of an AI system to the quality of the input that users provide. And there's a very high correlation, so that if we are asking intelligent, well thought out questions, the system is able to do a better job of providing intelligent, accurate answers for us. And so both of these things, these studies indicate that we need to be exercising ourselves in order to be providing the best input to produce the right output. And a good example is actually this presentation that they have here. It's my work, but I used AI to assist me in doing some of the research. Not surprisingly, I used AI to help generate these graphics. And so I told the computer what I wanted for the graphics, and had to go through multiple iterations to produce those. So I didn't just say, oh, just give me something random, or give me something that shows it. I was very specific about it. So, and I think that's a good example of how we want to utilize AI. Be very specific about what you want and be very clear about what you want and make sure it provides that. And one other thought is we've also hear a lot about the term hallucinations in the context of AI, and that's still a concern. Even the tool that I use, it has some, it makes errors. So we have to think about making sure that we have safeguards in place so that we can identify whether the tool is making an error. So if you ask a factual statement, it might be wrong, and if you have no way of checking it, then that's a problem. So you want to make sure that you have something, some way of checking. And in particular, you should be very cautious if it says something that doesn't sound right. I had my tool say something that was just wrong the other day, and I said, well, that can't possibly be right. And it said, oh, yeah, you're right. It was, it admits it's wrong, but that doesn't always help. Okay, final slide. So let's look at this. So I just want, if there's three takeaways from the whole talk, it's just these last three things. It's learn how to use AI effectively and do it now, because we want to be the people who are using AI to help us. And in the future, there's definitely going to be a big divide between those who know how to use AI and those who don't. You want to be on the side that does use AI. So use the tools, learn how to use them effectively. The second part here is be very skeptical and cautious. And that's both in terms of when you're using the AI system yourself, as well as when you're presented with something like the scams. Be very skeptical of anything you see. And then the final thing is advocate for responsible use of AI. There's some things that kind of one person can't control, but we can be part of a broader coalition to say, yeah, we want responsible AI. And that's what I have to say. Thank you.